We're living in a really uncertain, chaotic time. So much change is happening. And you hear and read reports, and I've shared research around the idea that people feel overwhelmed, exhausted. 1 out of 3 employees reporting consistently struggling with mental health challenges. And it also was a prompt for some self-reflection. How do I feel in this moment about navigating the remainder of this year? When I'm thinking about and planning for next year, how do you even make a plan when so much feels uncertain and stable? And in those moments, I think one of the root sort of outcomes of navigating those kinds of circumstances, or just the challenges and setbacks and stress of leading any business, or frankly, navigating your life, is fear. I think it's a core and fundamental human emotion that can actually turn into a system of thinking and prevent us or block the flow where we have access to all of our capability, where we trust ourselves more, where we lead more authentically and actually do our best work. So when you feel anxious, tense, and defensive, fear. When your thoughts are judgmental, when you're in comparison, when you're protecting, when you focus on control, or you're obsessed about managing micro outcomes, if you're replaying past regrets, or you're rehearsing things that are going to go horribly wrong in the future, you're stuck in fear. And that cycle of thinking can start becoming a loop that affects your behavior and your decision-making. Ego and fear and insecurity are some of the biggest barriers to human-centered leadership today. The framework for moving from fear to clarity is just a series of steps. It's tactical. There are 6 things you can do. I'd probably start with a question. I'd ask the client, I'd ask you to name what's one recurring fear or pressure that you're navigating right now, or what's something that happened recently to navigate this. And so I'll move you through the 6 steps. Step number 1 is you want to pause to create some space. There's presence and real opportunity in the pause. So the way to think about that is inputs or event, and then instead of reacting, which is natural, you pause, assess, and that gives you the power to respond intentionally. So it's a micro moment, and the way you think about it, it's just a little strategic reset. I'm not going to lose control of my emotions in this. The next step then, as we're responding intentionally, is to name the challenge honestly, not catastrophize the challenge or make more out of it than is necessary, which I think is a natural human tendency and one that I am personally familiar with. And so as a leader, that type of honest naming of the challenge, it creates transparency. And it also helps people align and focus. The third step is a challenging one, and that's the step of letting go of the need to have all of the answers right now. And it's a challenging step because we want more information to make effective decisions. But in a moment like this, it's actually more effective to lead with questions, not control. So you want to invite some thinking and even some questions that might prompt self-reflection. And the fourth step then is you shift the lens, one to possibility and opportunity. So one of my favorite questions there is, what's the opportunity here? You could also consider, what's the lesson? What aren't we seeing? Or another great question is, when you explore action, what if? And just open up possibility and allow yourself to imagine and allow yourself to think about problem solving differently in a new way. What if we tried this? And then the fifth step is then act. You got to choose one constructive action through that lens of thinking and opportunity. So what's one small step we could take? What's one thing we could do and test to iterate today? And you sort of want to chunk down challenges into small steps. Success is iterative, so you just want to feel like you're making progress through this. And then the last step, the sixth step is, and it's real important coaching for leaders, is you want to remind yourself the path comes through leading with empathy, and empathy is a driver for trust. So you want to understand the feelings and experiences of others when you're co-creating solutions. That fosters trust and safety. And as a leader, it's important just ground yourself in presence. Remain calm through the chaos, because that steadies the team and affects everybody else around you. The two places that people get stuck is they miss the pause. So there's a lot of reactive leadership today, a lot of sort of emotional, fear-based, egoic response. It's fear and insecurity kills. And so giving yourself that permission and that opportunity to sort of settle into calm is actually a gateway to clarity. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, this quest for more information. Information is everywhere, but we're not going to have all the answers. I think leaders today need to get more comfortable and confident in making decisions without complete information. Speed matters, decisiveness matters. That's a skill that you can condition yourself and practice toward. So if we have to make a decision in this meeting, what's one decision we're going to make? We're not walking out of this room without a decision. Great coaching for sales also. And so getting in the habit and getting comfortable, I think, is really critical to leading in this sort of hyper-connected state of constant change world, because it's not changing anytime soon.